I can remember staying up late, Googling my symptoms, being afraid of what was happening to my body and feeling at a loss as to how to prevent my reflux symptoms. I was struggling with symptoms of heartburn, chest pain, throat pain, feeling like something was stuck in my throat, pain right underneath the rib cage, and also lots of regurgitation and just general indigestion. And so if you're dealing with these symptoms, I feel for you. I know how challenging it is and how anxiety provoking it is to deal with reflux because you're always thinking about what's going to happen in the long term. And so I started this YouTube channel to share evidence-based strategies to help you overcome your reflux symptoms. So if you haven't already subscribed and joined this community, be sure to subscribe down below because we release weekly uploads to help you find relief from reflux and optimize your health. Now, my reflux was really multifactorial, and it wasn't just one thing that helped me resolve it. It was actually a holistic approach and thinking about my nutrition, my nervous system, my root causes of reflux, and I go into detail in this video here on how I overcame my acid reflux. But in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that everyone with reflux should absolutely avoid. These 5 things were really sneaky things that really impeded my progress and were contributing to my reflux symptoms, and I had no idea. One of my clients, Sarah, she was a super busy working mom, and she was always taking care of other people, really kind of bouncing around activity to activity and then also to work. And what would happen in her day is she would eat breakfast. She'd start off really strong with a good, nourishing breakfast. She'd usually have like protein overnight oats or maybe eggs, toast, and sweet potato. But then after that, she got so busy that she would forget to eat for about 6 or 7 hours. And then she would notice before dinner, she was absolutely famished. She was feeling lightheaded. She was feeling extremely hungry. And she was starting to experience some reflux at this time because she was extremely hungry. Nothing was in her stomach for about 6 to 7 hours. And this is really problematic if you have reflux. If you go too long without eating, you can have acid build up in your stomach, and this can contribute to reflux symptoms. Now, what also happened is that when she did eat dinner, now she was absolutely starving. She was ravenous. And when you let yourself get that hungry, it's very, very hard for you to stop eating when you're 80 to 90% full. Now, the 80 to 90% fullness rule is something that is really, really helpful if you have acid reflux to start to try to practice. I say practice because no one's perfect at this. I am not a perfect eater. None of my clients are perfect eaters, but really trying to eat to 80 to 90% fullness will help you prevent reflux. It's very important to eat to 80 to 90% fullness because if your stomach is really, really full, it's really full of food, when it contracts, you want it to have enough room to allow the food to move downward. If it's super full and it contracts, some of the food can move upwards. And also excess fullness puts a lot of pressure on this lower esophageal sphincter, which can loosen if there is excess pressure on the sphincter. So small frequent meals tend to work best. Really try to avoid getting over hungry because that can lead to over fullness. Think about the hunger and fullness scale. We never want to be on either extreme, either end of the spectrum. We want to stay kind of towards the middle. When you're starting to get hungry, that's a good time to start thinking about what your next meal is. And when you're starting to feel full, that's a good time to start to wrap it up and know that you're going to eat in another 3 to 4 hours. So for Sarah and for so many of my clients, it's really important that we don't go too long without food and that we really think about this hunger and fullness cue. The next thing that everyone should avoid if you have reflux is unmanaged stress. Now, I know what you're thinking. How am I ever going to get rid of the stress in my life? I'm always going to have stress. I cannot control that. And you're absolutely right. There are always going to be things in our lives that are stressors. That is life. And there's always going to be curveballs that life throws at us. But we need to have strategies in place that help us manage stress. I recently posted a video about how stress can actually cause and create reflux. So if you're curious about that, definitely go check that out. But not managing your stress really could be preventing you from making progress with your reflux symptoms. I can't tell you how many of my clients, I'm thinking about one in particular, who every time she goes on vacation or she goes on a day trip with friends, a time where she is calm, she is joyful, her reflux symptoms significantly decrease. And I'd be curious to know if the same was for you. I've noticed this pattern, especially in people who have laryngopharyngeal reflux. This is a type of reflux that the symptoms are mostly in the throat and respiratory system. So Really, really key that we are managing stress, because stress can be one of the biggest reflux triggers. Number 3, if you are actively struggling with reflux, one thing that you may want to avoid for now is spicy foods. This is extremely hard, especially if your culture emphasizes spicy foods. If a part of your eating culture is really incorporating lots of delicious spices, I know that this can be really, really challenging. Now, there are a ton of spices you can consume if you have reflux. Things like turmeric, even sweet paprika might be okay for some people. Thyme, basil, sage, oregano, dill, parsley, truffle powder, truffle salt, nutritional yeast, za'atar, sumac, basil. Those are just a few reflux-friendly seasonings that you can use while you are taking a break from the spicier things like cayenne pepper, or super spicy sauces or spicy peppers. These things are just really irritating if the tissue of your esophagus and stomach are irritated. And if you had an endoscopy and it showed esophagitis, or it showed Barrett's, cell changes in the esophageal junction, if it showed gastritis, inflammation in the stomach, pausing spicy foods is important, because these spicy foods is kind of like putting salt in a wound. And if you're constantly irritating this tissue, it's very hard to reduce the inflammation. Healing from reflux is a two-pronged approach. You have to address the root cause of reflux to prevent and manage and stop the reflux, but you also have to reduce inflammation. And so spicy foods, when you're in a healing phase, are something I would avoid. If you're looking for delicious reflux-friendly recipes, be sure to check out all of the reflux-friendly recipes on my acid reflux playlist on YouTube, as well as on the Flora app. I created the Flora app to provide you with hundreds of reflux-friendly recipes. Our reflux relief method is on there. There's also Q&As where you can ask a question to me, and there's a community supporting you along the way in your reflux journey. So there's a 7-day risk-free trial if you want to try it out in the description of this video. The fourth thing I would really try to avoid is excessive Googling. So I know how it feels to want answers, to want to know when this is happening, how long it's going to be going on, and how long it's going to take you to heal. I definitely understand that. Constantly searching for those answers and Googling your symptoms can lead the nervous system to be on high alert, because everything you're going to see on the internet, on the Facebook groups, is the worst case scenario, and it can really change the way that you view your health, and it can create nervous system dysregulation. I've seen this again and again with my clients who come to me and they've spent a lot of time Googling their symptoms. It can put you in a really dark headspace. I was there too. I really felt like I was never going to get better. I felt like I was always going to have reflux, and one of the biggest changes that I personally made was actually believing that I could get better, seeing that future for myself. That mindset shift was very hard to make. I did go to therapy, but it was extremely helpful, because when you see your future as a dark place, it's really dysregulating to your nervous system. It's hard to make progress, and your mind and body are connected. Your body hears everything the mind says. So it's really important that you try to create and maintain a positive mindset. And this is something we talk a lot about on the Flora app. The last thing I would really try to avoid if you have reflux is taking loads of random supplements. So the supplement industry is unfortunately unregulated, and there's lots of supplements out there that are promoted for being helpful for reflux, but might actually be harmful. Things like betaine HCl, apple cider vinegar, those are helpful for a select few people with reflux. If you have esophagitis or gastritis, I really would not take an acid supplement. Those can actually irritate your tissues more, and they may not be addressing your root cause. There are so many reasons why someone may be experiencing reflux, and it's not always low stomach acid, contrary to popular belief. So beware of those acid supplementation protocols. That's really something that I would not do unless under the guidance of a trained professional who is experienced and specialized in reflux. Now, there's some amazing supplements on the market. I really love alginate supplements, especially Reflux Raft. The links to all my favorite supplements will be in the description of this video, but I love alginates. They help create a little gel barrier at the top of your stomach to physically prevent reflux. That's a great evidence-based supplement. Again, Reflux Raft is the one I use, and the link is down below in the description. You really want to make sure you're getting personalized supplement advice that is safe for you, that is tailored to your symptoms and your root causes. So if you're looking for this type of support, we do offer this service, and you can book a session with us down below in the description. But I would really try to avoid spending loads of money on supplements if you haven't first addressed the unsexy basics. The unsexy basics are nutrition, nervous system, and mealtime hygiene. These three things are absolutely critical for your relief and recovery. So you really want to make sure you're finding ways to manage stress in your life, that you are eating balanced meals, eating every 3 to 4 hours, chewing well, slowing down at those meals. So these things are easier said than done, and I have a whole playlist on here to support you. So definitely check out the acid reflux relief playlist. And if you feel that stress may be a root cause in your acid reflux, you're definitely going to want to check out this video here that I just released on how stress impacts reflux. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe down below, join the family, and I will see you at the next video.